Hour. I am Lene Javette. I'm here with Keisha at We Inspire Brands, Teddy Ewing at The Real Teddy Talks, and Miss Faye Bishop at Miss Faye Bishop. And this is the Melody Air Hour, where we take a moment to just sit and talk Black, which is Miss Queen Vicky Dillard's saying, "Talk Black to me." During the melanated hour, we breathe Black with you, right? So the conversation is always going to be about life, but from the Black perspective relative to business. So today we're talking about Karen Civil. Now, if you are familiar with the app Clubhouse, even if you're not familiar with the app Clubhouse, you probably have seen that she has been being dragged through different conversations with people that have come out saying that she has frauded them. Now, we're not here to say whether she did or she didn't, but we're going to definitely talk about it from our perspectives, from a business perspective. Who was right? Who was wrong? What could have been done? What could have been done differently? What should you do to protect yourself? So, if you have not heard about this, let's give some context. We're going to back up and tell you what's going on with Karen Civil. And Faye Bishop is the one who brought it to the Melanated Air Hour and said, hey, we should talk about this. So I'm going to let her give some background on what's going on. Take it away, Faye.
Hello, everybody. It's so great to join these three ladies, as always, during these explosive conversations. About 3 nights ago, I was tagged in a conversation on Clubhouse by a friend of mine. And they tagged me and they said, you got to come in here and hear this. You got to come in here and hear this. And what they were trying to tag me on, which I wasn't able to actually get into the room. Apparently the room had over hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people in there. I didn't know until this that apparently you can fill up a Clubhouse room and you can't get in. So that's for future reference for anyone who is active on the Clubhouse app. But what happened is there was an explosive argument going on between Karen Civil, Joyner Lucas, Jessie Wu, among many others, about how the social media and digital marketing strategist mogul, which is what she is, has been taking advantage of her clients and scamming them out of money. In Joyner Lucas's case, he exploded on her, saying that she scammed him out of $60,000, which he alleged that he paid to her to facilitate blog placements, opening performances, radio interviews, and I guess among what we all think that a manager is supposed to do, or someone we hire for business to do, not doing her job or not performing her job well. It was a very, very intense conversation. It was one that definitely I thought was very important to have on this platform, as it speaks to entrepreneurship and business and the mistakes that the average entrepreneur does make, be it intentionally or unintentionally, when it comes to how we service our clients.
Now, before we deep dive into this conversation, welcome to the room, right? This is the Melanated Air Hour. Please give us a thumbs up, a share, a like. And as you're coming into the room, let us know if you had $60,000 or you made a $60,000 investment into a coach, a mentor, a PR person, what would be one thing that you would expect to see as a return? So if you gave somebody $60,000 for your business, what is one thing you would like to see as a return? Go ahead and put that in the comments for us right now so we can kind of gauge what you would be looking at for a return on your $60,000. Now, before I jump back into it, does anybody have anything to add? So let's start here. Because we've all had the opportunity to listen to the Clubhouse conversation. So I'll ask this as first, because this is really what we want to know. What was your initial reaction when you heard the conversation about the $60,000 relative to Joyner?
Mm-hmm.
Teddy, we'll start with you.
Well, the first thought that came to mind from a business perspective was under promise, over deliver. And I think as Karen Civil gained her fame and notoriety, she maybe started doing the opposite, which is over promising and under delivering, because she had the name, she had the brand, she has present tense, the supporters. I mean, if you guys listen to, I was watching YouTube for the last couple hours just trying to get everything I can about this. And Charlemagne the God, like, he didn't have one negative word to say. He was really trying to be very neutral when he talked about her. When what's his name? Jason Lee. Jason Lee was on the Breakfast Club giving his side of the story because Karen Civil wronged him. And as a good radio show host, Charlemagne the God was staying very neutral. So he was hanging with his boy Jason. He was also not talking bad about his girl Karen. But it's just, in business, it's bad business to not deliver on your promise and not provide some kind of equity in its place. So if I take your money and I say, I'm gonna do these 5 things, I'm gonna blow you up, I'm gonna get you record deals, I'm gonna get you book deals, I'm gonna get you on shows, I'm gonna get you tours, X, Y, and Z. And if I don't do those things, then I need to either refund your money, refund a portion of your money, something. So she might have got a little too big for her britches, and I'll be very interested to see how this affects her business in the coming weeks.
Okay, yeah. Keisha?
The first thing I thought was, ooh, like when I was listening, I was like, ooh, you know, throughout the whole interview or the whole conversation. And one thing that did stand out for me when Joyner Lucas was speaking, he said that he would call her and she would act like, oh, I don't want to speak to her. I don't want to speak to him. Or, you know, she would have that air or that energy like, oh, like I'm too busy, you know, and I do not like that. Like, that's one thing. It's like, if a client pays you to do a job, then you should never be, oh, I'm too busy, or have that air, that energy, like, oh, I'm too busy or too good to speak to you. It's like, how dare you, you know? And that's something that I tell my clients. I'm like, look, you paid me. So if you have a question, you need to reach out to me, whether it be email, you have my, you know, text message, DM, whatever it is. A client should never feel like, especially paying them $60,000, a client should never feel like, oh, she's acting like she's too busy to speak to me, you know, like. And another thing that stood out for me is she said that she was on vacation. Everyone has a right to their vacation. We speak about mental health, we speak about breaks, but I guess she mentioned like, oh, I'm on vacation, I don't want to speak to you. If you're not doing your job, you don't have a right to take no vacation. Like, you speak to me. I just paid you $60,000 and you're not on your job and you talking about you on vacation. I need answers. I need you to tell me something about the money that I spent with you, or the money that I invested in you, and that I'm not getting a return on, or I'm not seeing a return on.
All right. Faye, do you want to add to that before I jump in, or?
Absolutely. I agree wholeheartedly with what Teddy and Keisha is saying. And to piggyback off of that, what stood out for me was that it seems like, to me, the client, and I would say manager, or whatever her role was, because it seems like she was playing different roles for different people she did business with. For instance, with Jessie Woo, she kind of described their relationship as a friendship that extended over into a business relationship, or a role where she took on Jessie Woo as a client. So it seems as though Karen was not clear in terms of business client relationships, and it kind of seemed like there was a blurred line there. There also lacked a lot of clarity in the objective. I noticed that when she would answer Joyner's questions, as well as the questions of the woman, I think her name was Keita from the Crenshaw district, who worked very closely with Nipsey Hussle, it seemed to be like this lack of transparency, lack of ethics. There wasn't really an objective, and there was a lack of boundaries. As an entrepreneur, I think it's very important for us to remember that you are responsible for upholding the public trust, not just the public trust, but the trust of your clients. You are accountable to spend and use the resources that are paid to you the way that they were intended. You also have a responsibility to make all professional decisions based on merit, unimpeded by conflicting personal interests, which seems to, again, blur the lines in her relationships with her clients. And you are expected to avoid even the appearance of impropriety, because not only can it ruin your business, it can ruin your reputation. And your reputation in business is the cornerstone to power.
All right. So, hey there, Madam President.
Hey.
Let's get. I'll reset the room since you just walked in.
Okay.
For those of you that are just tuning in, we are talking about Karen Civil. Is she bad for business? But more importantly, we're talking about it from the perspective of the business mistakes many entrepreneurs make, right? So please give us a thumbs up, like it, share us, follow all the ladies that are on the platform that you see. Thank you, Joel Torres. He said, I've never seen so many beautiful Black women in one place. Thank you, King.
All right. Thank you.
So I will say, so the initial question was, what did you notice, or what was your first thought when you heard about the situation with Karen Civil and Mr. Joyner and the $60,000? And I'm going to tell you from experience, the first thing I thought was everybody's right and everybody's wrong. And the reason why that is it's perspective, right? There's going to be some things that were right and that people did right, but there's going to be a whole lot of things that people did wrong, and it's going to be on both sides. In my opinion, Karen is right, but she's wrong, and Joyner is right, but he's wrong. It's equal. So some of the things. So that was my initial thought. Just being in this business and knowing and understanding how, when you're the person that's being paid as the coach, as the mentor, as the person providing a service, and there's somebody who's paying you, a lot of times, and it's unfortunate, there's a disconnect with what that person thinks they're paying for and what they're actually getting. That belongs to the business owner. Like, the business owner needs to make sure that their client understands this is what you're going to get, this is not what you're going to get. Because clients, especially somebody walking into a situation where they're paying $60,000, in their mind, they have an expectation of what they're going to get for that. Now, if you're just starting out, $60,000 is a lot to you. And no shade to $60,000. But if you're a Karen Civil who deals with corporations who are paying her $200,000, $60,000 is not that much money. And if it's me and I'm used to making $200,000, somebody gives me $660,000, you don't get to disturb my peace for $60,000. And I say that to say, and this is, I swear to God, this is no shade. If a client pays me $1,200, they're in my inbox like, I'm like, dude, $1,200. Like, are we for real right now? Like, you calling me at 10 o'clock at night for $1,200? But for $60,000, I can only imagine how Mr. Joyner felt. Like, hey, I need to get a hold of you, right? The other thing was expectations. One of the things that he said that I caught was, I expected Karen to put her arm around me and put me on like she did everybody else. Well, some of the people that she was putting her arm around are it was like Meek Mills, or he said Nipsey. Well, you have to work to get to a Nipsey level to have somebody put their arm around you. So there were some unspoken expectations on his part that I think should have been better communicated. On the other hand, let's look from her perspective, there were some things that she probably could have and should have way more clearly communicated with regards to what you can expect. This is what we're going to use this money for. It. This is how we're going to use it. This is what has been paid. And when you're talking about communicating with the client, the manager is not your client, right? We kept trying to, in that conversation, we kept trying to be thrown back to the manager. The manager is not your client. The artist is your client. So making sure that your true client is happy, that falls on Karen. Like, that falls on Karen. So we're going to keep having this conversation, but I feel like both parties were right and both parties were wrong. It's a very,
I'm gonna have to interrupt you because I'm gonna find it. I don't want to lose track of what you're saying, but when Mr. Joyner was talking, he named off like 6 things that she was supposed to provide. Like he was reading off of a text message. Preferably, he was reading off the contract. But
it sounded like a contract. It sounded like he was reading off his contract.
So the question I have is, okay, it sounded like he had a few receipts, right? So she said she was going to do all these things, but she didn't say how she was going to do them. She didn't say what timeline she was going to do them, or at least he didn't read that. So to her defense, she was like, I blew you up. I put all kind of time and effort into you, and it just didn't do what you wanted it to do, right? Because he's not Nipsey Hussle. He's not Hillary Clinton. He ain't none of these people that already had some notoriety. So he was still struggling. But the part that really touched me on both sides was he was desperate. He said that was his last money. His son was being born. He was trying to have a last hurrah. So he took the last bit that he got from that investor and he put it towards her on a hope and a dream that she would fulfill her promise. So I think the biggest issue in this was, as in all relationships, communication. She wasn't communicating. And back to what Keisha said, I almost would rather you ghost me. Don't even answer my call or send me a dry text message than answer it with an attitude after I done give you $60,000. Now, I don't care what you used to getting. If I give you my $60,000 and you answer the phone, you better not have no attitude with me about it. Okay, so she was wrong because she shouldn't have answered. She should have stayed professional at all times. And if she's not ready to have that conversation with him, she getting 60,000, 100,000, 200,000. She need to hire somebody to have those conversations on her behalf. She need to talk to her staff and say, "Hey, call Mr. Joyner back. He's having some issues. Get him straight. Get him together." And then she shouldn't even have handled it. So the fact that she's answering her own phone calls dry or with an attitude lets me know maybe she might be doing too much, and she needs to learn how to delegate those responsibilities.
So definitely having a team would have helped. Go ahead. And Chanel, I know you're just walking in. Do you want to add something to the conversation? President, I'm so used to calling you Chanel. I just
it's totally fine. Okay, so I'm jumping in. I'm reading the comments and I'm listening to everybody. And I haven't quite determined, where angle I wanted to come from, because I literally was just kind of like absorbing all these details. But I wanted to say something about the culture of hip hop, right? The culture in itself is a very sloppy arrangement. It's like, Hennessy foreign, like there isn't a lot of, I would say, a lot of professionalism attached to the culture. Now think about this. That has to be taught. That has to be brought in from, okay, my friend, she's an attorney. Even for myself, there were certain times in my professional career where I was like, oh, I'm about to sign something. I need to have somebody else take a look at this. And so I think sometimes we personally and try to handle business casually, and it don't work. And when it comes to the value of a dollar, now see, the thing is, when you got $60 million or $6 million, 60K it's not a lot of money. When you got 60K out of 100K, that's all your money. It's a different level, so sometimes they say, sometimes women, they'll see men, oh, he ain't got no money, but he's the one willing to share with you his last dime. So the thing is, we can't discredit or disregard the amount of money because of who she is and who she's used to dealing with on a higher level. Now, let's be real. You don't take a person's money. And then you made a great point about being able to deliver. There is commonly a disconnect. When you go to the store and you buy a Snickers bar, you definitely know that you're going to get a Snickers out of this package. But if you bought a Snickers bar and ants started coming out, I ain't signed up for this. So I think the same thing on a professional level is if Karen could not have delivered his expectations, there needs to be a conversation saying, hey, I think what you're expecting from me may not be deliverable at this time. Allow me to give you your money back or something like that. Because also, too, when you see a person in desperation, there's a level to kick in and say, I can't meet this need. I can't fulfill what this person is requesting during this time. So my thing is, I think that based on what everybody pretty much shared, I heard Teddy, I heard some of Faye's, and I heard Lene, you like, they both right and wrong. They both right and wrong. I think the expectations wasn't clear. And he didn't get, of course, what he was looking for. But I'm sorry, I'm going to have to say possibly Karen Civil was wrong because she took his money.
Well, here's the thing. This is why I say it's great, because when you take somebody's money at the front, a lot of times you have good intentions, right? But this is where it becomes both parties. If I'm giving you $60,000, I want to know, how is the $60,000 going to be spent? Who's getting it? Have you worked with them before? I want to see the invoice. I want to see the receipt. Like, I'm asking, if I'm handing you $12, I want to know where it's going. So you best believe if I'm handing you $60,000 as the client, I want to know how this is going to be spent. That's from this perspective. So that's a little bit of onus on the client, right? Now, as a business owner, if I'm taking $60,000 from you, you better believe I'm gonna have it rolled out, you itemized. You're gonna know where it's going, how it's spent. You're gonna be a part of it. This is what we're. So when I'm dealing with the client, if I mean, my budget might be $5,000. If I have to deal with the graphic designer, the website, the photo shoot, I'm letting you know along the way. Hey, the website design is gonna be $1,200. You good with that? Yeah, cool. All right, the photo shoot's gonna be this much. Are you good with that? Like there should be it's both, it's equal parts. But to your point, you said she's giving the money back. How do you give money back that's gone? If somebody gives you $60,000 and you spend it recklessly or however she spent it, there's nothing to give back. It's gone.
Can I just mention on behalf of Joyner, right? And I don't know if ignorance is an excuse, because sometimes it's not. But in his case, he was a dude from the hood. He didn't know, like he didn't have this business mindset where it's like, okay, I'm giving her my money. I want to know like the entire breakdown. He's looking at it as Karen Civil. She's worked with Meek Mills. She worked with Nipsey. So she's going to take care of me, so sometimes we do have people that are ignorant to the business world and they don't know to ask for these things. So I think that it's important for us to educate our audience and say, hey, if you are going to work with someone, if you are going to put up any amount of money, whether it's $60,000, $6,660, then you need to be asking for invoices, these itemized lists of what you are getting. And on the part of Karen, yes, she should have provided him with that because she knows better. She knows that you should be providing your clients with exactly what they're going to get, the breakdown of what they're going to get when they spend money with you. So I don't know, like, what do you do these things? Do you think like ignorance is an excuse?
I don't think ignorance is an excuse, but I also feel like there wasn't really a lot of accountability being taken by Karen, in my opinion. I think for her, it became an argument about, well, I didn't say I could do this and I didn't know that I was supposed to do that. Why didn't you tell me? Why didn't you call me? And this is the part where that question about is she bad for Black business or is she bad for business at all comes in. Because here's the thing I know about being an entrepreneur myself. I'm responsible for providing a service to whatever client or customer pays me. Either I can deliver on that promise or that service, or I can't. And it seems like she wasn't very clear on what she could deliver and what she could not. And it's possible she didn't know what she could deliver or what she could not. Unfortunately, this is a mistake that a lot of entrepreneurs tend to make. They don't set boundaries. They're not clear in their objective. Nobody is transparent. It unfortunately screws up the performance and the outcome. And again, it affects ethics and awareness. In Joyner's point of view, in his situation, and even in Jesse's, it doesn't seem like the proper vetting was done, or whether it was, but it was based on her reputation that they knew of her through social media. I think it's very important that we vet an individual regardless of who they're associated with. It's great that she was associated with Nipsey Hussle, but even as per her own admission, she hadn't worked with Nipsey Hussle since 2018. And someone actually argued in that conversation that after his death, she took credit for things that she did not do. Again, can you deliver on a service that you're being paid for or not? Also, in addition to that, before making a decision, to go forward on any joint venture or any joint project, it's so important to be clear in your objective. It's important for you, the client or customer, and it's important for you, the business owner or entrepreneur. It's important to be clear in your objective, because being clear and specific with what it is you want to achieve, or what course of action you plan to take to achieve said goal or said outcome, is because it can convert a vision to a clear-cut, measurable target. You know what you're going for. You know what you're aiming for. Everybody understands what they're going to do to get there and what needs to be done and why such and such ABC of money needs to be invested to achieve said goals. You know what I mean? When you fail to lay out an objective, in my opinion, when you aren't clear about what the goal is, neither you, your client, or whomever, it keeps customers in a state of confusion, which I noticed in Joyner's case. It seemed like he was constantly kept in this perpetual state of confusion because, number one, he constantly had a problem getting a hold of her on the phone, and number two, he was not clear on what it was she was supposed to do because there was never an objective laid out. He even said, I didn't need you to do the radio part for me. I had that handled. I wanted you to do this, and this. You know what I mean? So when you keep the clients in a state of confusion, stop trying to interpret things in their own way, you end up with absolute chaos. And I think that that's what led to this big blow up on Clubhouse, because not only did she screw with allegedly, I have to use that word, Joyner, it was Jesse Wu, Meek Mill had something to say. Cameron even lended his 2 cents on his Twitter. He wasn't a part of the conversation, but he did say, I've been told you guys that she was a scammer and she steals. Why didn't you listen to me? And it just really, really harms your reputation, and it affects the way you do business going forward. And that's not what you want when you're an entrepreneur. So it's so important to be clear in your objective. I stress that to all entrepreneurs.
All right, so I'm going to quickly reset the room. I just want to say thank you to everybody who has tuned in. I can hear myself.
Yeah, echo just a little bit.
Yeah. I want to just say thank you to everybody that is tuning in. Thank you so much for joining the Melanated Air Hour. I am Lineage Vet. This is Keisha, Faye Bishop, Teddy Ewing. You see everybody's handle. Please go and follow and support us. Give us a thumbs up, a like, a share. Make sure you check us out every Tuesday and Thursday. We are here. So getting back today, we're talking about Karen Civil. Is she bad for business? We're also just kind of pointing out some different mistakes that entrepreneurs make and how to avoid those mistakes, how to avoid those pitfalls. So I want to go back to what I think Faye said it. It might have been Teddy. Actually, it was Faye because I'm looking at my notes. And I just want to say why it's important that you have people that are experts around you, right? I think, no, it was Keisha. We were talking about could this situation have been avoided, and or was it naivete? Was it just being naive or ignorance to business? I want to say why it's super important to have people around you that are experts in business, because if he's just getting started as an artist, or if you're just getting started as a business or a publicist or whatever it is that you're doing, and you hire somebody, let's say a manager, who is supposed to be the middle person, who's supposed to look at your contract, who's supposed to negotiate for you, who's to do the checks and balances, you need to make sure that, like Faye said, that you vet that person and that you're hiring the right person, whether it's a business coach, a course instructor, it does not matter what it is. You're literally paying for their expertise and their experience. So if you are naive and you don't understand business, or you don't understand career development or personal development or whatever that case might be, and you're aligning yourself, or you're in his specific case, you bring somebody on or hire somebody to represent you and they don't know what to do, that's a problem, right? So what Faye is saying, if they don't know what to ask for and they don't know what to communicate and they don't know what to look for, balls get dropped, right? The other thing is there is a difference in, and I'm not saying $60,000 is not a lot of money. I'm not saying that, because it is. If you don't have $60,000, $60,000 is a lot of money. But as a business owner who does representation, what you get for $60,000 is going to be different than what you get for $100,000. What you get for $60,000 is going to be different than what you get for $150,000. It's going to be different than $200,000. So if, and I don't know if this is the case, but hypothetically speaking, if getting your arm put around and put on social media is a $200,000 investment, you're not going to get that same return at 60. So it still comes back to communication on both sides. On both sides.
As I was saying, I don't know if I didn't hear her say ever, and I didn't listen to the full 2 hours. I didn't ever hear her say, you didn't get the $150,000 package, you got the $60,000 package, and that's what I provided. So because I didn't hear her say that, I question if she even knew what she's supposed to deliver, as been said before. And I want to add the layers to this. It's been alluded to in our conversation, but Joyner wasn't the only one that had something negative to say. You have, let's talk about, I forget his name again, Jason Lee. Yeah. Jason Lee, and her bringing down his page. So she did that. She brought down his Instagram page, what was it, Hollywood Insider. from a hacker. Because he never was clear like how she brought. He said she brought down my page. But then after I listened to the Breakfast Club, he said that she hired a hacker to I don't know, spam it, hack it. I don't know what she did, but she took his page down for months, and he was making 6 figures a month. So now we know, it's confirmed, she's messy. She's very messy, to the tune she might get sued. She said she didn't think she's going to get sued. When you admit to causing someone to lose their income in malicious ways, then that's going to get you sued. But one thing I saw that she does have, to what Faye was saying, was she got lawyers on tap now. Because when she don't want somebody to say something bad about her, she's slapping libel suits and defamation suits against people like that, right? Hoping that they don't have the resources to fight back. Because when you got receipts, there is no defamation. As long as you got the truth, then that defamation suit ain't gonna get very far. But you have to have that steam behind you. You have to have a lawyer on retainer that can help you fight those frivolous lawsuits. So she has her stuff together. She's putting her money in the places she needs to if you're gonna be doing business, but definitely if you're gonna be doing messy business. And I think she's messy. I mean, just from the entertainment industry is messy, right? Let's
say that right there.
Sure. It's messy. You got folks blowing up with no experience in business, okay? Just because you can fill the room, I mean, you know anything about business. So she knew what she was doing. I think she got blowed up by a lot of her peers and friends, and she probably got too big too quick. Where she like I said, I don't think she's hiring enough staff because she's doing too much of this on her own. They're talking to her directly. They're doing all the stuff directly. So she's not even spreading the wealth. So as far as how she is for Black business, I'm gonna say she ain't that good. This from the outside looking in, this is what it looked like to me.
So I got to correct. I just want to make sure that we say this correctly. She did not admit to hiring a hacker. She said that she did not pay him. She said that she did reach out to the hacker, but there was no payment, is what she said. So she did not officially hire him. She did not pay him $20,000.
Look at my lips.
But she did reach out to the hacker.
I'm joining you.
Now, what she also said was this, and I always look at things. I look at things both ways. I see both sides. What she also said was, I am the Olivia Pope in this industry. People call me when they need to get things done, and then they get mad when it gets messy. We're talking about the entertainment industry. Somebody has to come here and clean shit up. She is the woman that they call to come in and clean shit up, and then they get mad because she cleans shit up. Like, it's a catch-22. What do you want me to do? I can't keep my hands clean and do business. Now, I was talking to Taryn, who is a producer of My Nubian Queen. Shout out to my girl Taryn. And she said, here's the thing, Lene. And I said that, but I don't want to take credit for her thought. So I'm letting y'all know this was not my thought, but she made a point. And it was, in the entertainment industry, Karen is not the only one that's doing these things. Diddy does dirty and messy business. Jermaine Dupri, Snoop Dre, all of them do dirty business. But Karen is a Black woman, and so they're attacking her for tactics that they all do. What do you think about that? Like, we aren't out here dragging anybody else that signs dirty contracts, that takes pages down, that sees.
But we do. We do. But he has been attacked for decades. He has. Everybody has a joke about getting signed to Bad Boy Records is a mistake. Getting signed to Bad Boy Records is you signing over your life. People die. People get shot. There have been jokes on top of jokes on top of jokes that have been made about the P. Diddy's and the Suge Knights of the world, enough to spread out over the course of about 25 years about how they do bad business. Here's me. It has nothing to do with gender for me. Bad business is bad business. And I'm not going to sit here and take up for Karen simply because she's a woman and say, oh, she's a woman, let me take it easy on her. Because the world is not coming at Karen. Who I heard coming at Karen in that Clubhouse room were her clients. These are people she was supposed to provide a service for and failed to do it, allegedly. It's not a bunch of people just dragging her. It was her clients. These are people that hired her and paid her money to provide a service that they feel she failed to do. And I think it's important for us to stick to that, because that matters when it comes to business, whether you're male or female, Black or white or whomever. If your business doesn't perform very well, no matter how much you attempt to cover it up, pretty it up, get all these people behind you to lie for you, whether or not they're famous or infamous, eventually it comes out and it will blow up in your face, as it did with this Karen civil situation. Measuring performance is a vital part of monitoring the growth and progress of any business. And until you don't know what you want to measure, you can't measure what you have, regardless of what your business is.
I also want to highlight that I do think that sometimes when Black women do it, it's problematic. I do think that in a very patriarchy society, men get away with doing men things. As they say, let boys be boys, right? But when women try to be boys or handle business in the same manner, I do think that they nail them to the cross a little quicker and a little harder. However, I will say that the industry has a very unethical background to it. And if you mention Diddy, I always like to say Diddy is the only bad boy with a house, okay? Diddy is the only bad boy with a house. Who name a bad boy person to this day that you see like, oh, they done very well for themselves through their music. You know, it don't work like that. And in fact, Diddy should have been canceled because of his behavior many, many years ago. But I mean, like, I'm not saying, you know, we could who decides to cancel, right? But I will say this: the industry does not have any friends. Nobody is a friend in the industry. This is the relationships are all circumstantial. Okay, all of the love is circumstantial. I'm only here when we up. If we ain't up, then we ain't getting up. So that's how you operate. So I feel like even when you look at this young man who paid her $60,000. What was he paying for? I'm not talking about contractually. I'm talking about the price of fame. Karen, put me on. Give me 60 grand. I want to be bigger. I want more people to know my name. You know, I want to do this. I got $60,000. This is how desperate people are regarding fame. Imagine if ethics in our community made you famous. Imagine if being, you know, a good father in our community made you famous. So our brothers would have to feel like they got to spend their last mixtape money on Karen Civil.
Somebody said that. Somebody was like, if 60,000 made you famous, everybody would be auctioning their mama's house for 60,000. Somebody literally said that in the video.
Yeah. So I just want to say this too. I mean, I've heard several things. I've heard the Queen, Beyonce. I mean, I'm not saying this is true. I don't want Beyonce and Jay-Z me Illuminati me tonight, but I'm saying that, you know, supposedly, say for instance, you're a dope artist, right? Let's just say Anne Marie, Blue Cantrell, some of those old artists that was coming out when Beyonce was coming out, right? Say for instance, you're an old artist and you got this song, you got this songwriter, and they like, oh, I got this song for you, and they start writing for you, and they give you the song, and you go and you record it. This is your big break. 2 weeks later, they like, oh, I shared the same song with Beyonce. She wants it. Unfortunately, you can't have it anymore. Then they take it to her. These are common practices in the industry. Nobody has loyalty in this industry. And imagine if sales was under the contingency of loyalty, then we will have a whole new way of how we do business. And that's what I hope for.
Yes.
And you know, Karen Civil got people riding for her. So she had Nicki Minaj. I'm not saying that they didn't speak negative of her. Charlamagne the God, you got a lot of artists that she did support. She did do her job for. She did blow them up. And you don't see them saying a negative word about her. So that's another aspect of business is you take care of your star clients because you're not going to mess over the people that have the power to mess you over, right? So, you know, my dude Joyner, he didn't have any power at that time. And just like Madam President just said, he's actually getting blowed up because I never heard his name. I don't know who the brother is. It was, you know. But today, in the last 3 days, a lot more people know his name because he's dragging Karen. So we have to see all sides of this coin. It ain't just two sides. There's 3 sides, 4 sides, 5 sides of this coin. So everybody's getting their piece. And she has people riding for her. She has people that won't say a negative word about her. So she must be doing something right. Or she got dirt on them and they wouldn't dare.
You know, and she talked about that. She's like, she talked about people getting famous off of her name. Now, I have a situation that I want to share, and I got to be very careful how I share it because I don't want to name names, but I want to give a perspective on why I'm straddling the fence on this thing. And it is because, I have a client, I have somebody that I work with who gets dragged in the media fairly often. And I got dragged into a situation with them one particular time, right? And so literally because I got dragged in the situation, I'm in it. I know what happened. I understand what happened. And the way that the person communicated it online is not what happened. But because this individual is dragged online all the time, everybody just was like, oh, yeah, that's what they do. That's how they do it. And I'm sitting here like, that's not what happened. That is absolutely not what happened. Even me being dragged into it, she did this, she did that. That's absolutely not what happened. So sometimes I always like there's two sides to every story. There's interpretation. What do they say? There's this person's side, that person's side, and the truth, right? Because a lot of this stuff is perception. Well, I thought you meant this. Well, I thought I was going to do that. Well, I thought turning it over to this person was going to be okay. Well, I thought you were going to do this and you didn't do that. So now I'm offended. I'm mad and you did me wrong and I'm going to tell everybody. But did I really do you wrong or did you misunderstand what was happening? Now, I'm not saying that that's this case. I'm definitely not saying that that's this case. But there's always two sides and then the truth somewhere in the middle. In particular case, you do have multiple people coming out. You have Jason Lee coming out, which she admitted to doing her wrong to and apologized. This is what I did like about her. She admitted to the things that she felt she did wrong and apologized to the things that she felt wrong, but stood her ground on the things where she was like, no, I didn't do anything wrong in those instances. But in these ones, I did. I was wrong for this. I was wrong for that. I'm not wrong in this situation. I'm not wrong in that situation, but I'll take responsibility for the things that I felt are wrong. I like that about her. And I think that as entrepreneurs, we have to do that. The customer's not always right. I'm not always right.
She apologized for having this brother lose hundreds of thousands of dollars. Keep your MF an apology. Don't give me no apology. You better give me my money back. Okay, I'm done. I'm sorry. I
agree with that. That was the shady to lose money. No, we're not friends. That apology is not cool. No.
Yeah.
If it were me, again, this is from the business perspective. If you do something wrong, you should apologize for it. You might not be able to fix it. She can't go back and fix the fact that she made this brother lose money. She can't. You can own up to it. If I drop the ball on a launch for my client, that can't go back and fix that. I can acknowledge it. And that's where a lot of times we as entrepreneurs, not we, but we as entrepreneurs and business owners, we fall short there. It wasn't me. It wasn't my fault. I didn't do it. That's what it is. Eat it and keep it moving. That's not right. That's not fair. At least acknowledge it. If you can't fix it, at least acknowledge that you fucked up, that you did something bad or wrong. You definitely shouldn't be doing these things. But again, we're talking about an industry that doesn't operate on integrity. We're talking about an industry that doesn't operate on scruples. She did what she has been hired to do as quote unquote, the Olivia Pope in industry. How does somebody hire you to do wrong in this situation and they pay you and they give you accolades for doing it? But then in this situation, you ain't shit. You're bad. But you just paid me to do it over here and it was okay. I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying it's right, which is why I'm saying that everybody's right and everybody's wrong.
The thing with her and Jason, though, is that she and Jason Lee, much like her with Jesse Wu, and I spoke about this in an earlier point, there seemed to be a standing friendship there first before she kind of took on the role as, them taking them on as a client. And in the case, particularly with Jason Lee, and she did acknowledge in that chat, she didn't acknowledge the paying a hacker, but what she did acknowledge was wrongdoing in that particular case. And I'm noticing that's kind of like a culture now, even in the YouTube stratosphere or with a lot of social media influencers who kind of engage in like these partnerships, as Karen did with Jesse Wu and Jason Lee, however that relationship is. It's kind of like we partner with each other and then things don't work out. So now I'm going to make thousands of videos about how I hate you and how you're just like a piece of and, or I'm going to shut your website down and hire a hacker and get rid of you. And then, I'm going to make sure you never get a chance to earn a living a day in your life. There seems to be an ongoing thing that actually stuck out to me in that conversation, because that brings it back to the point where even if you remove the joiner situation and you say, hey, there's a lot that he could have done differently and a lot that she could have done differently. The Jason Lee situation definitely stuck out to me because it spoke to her integrity as a person, not just as a business owner. How you can, I just feel like there's a certain code of ethics, code of conduct that one should just carry just as a person as it pertains to your character. And for her to feel like she felt it was necessary to take it that far, where she just completely shut down everything that he built and worked for, where he lost out on all of this money to the point where he had to rebuild it and do it all over again. It does beg one to question, not only is she bad for business, but does she have bad character too? So that's where, for me, that's what stuck out to me even more than the Joyner situation, because he was a client, but her and Jason were friends. Her and Jesse were friends. You know, where were the boundaries? You know, and a lack of boundaries invites a lack of respect, in my opinion. You know, when you set business boundaries, it gives you the ability to clearly communicate your expectations with not just your customers and your clients, but even with your friends and everyone involved, so that they'll respect you. They'll respect your time. You know, it also gives you the ability to clearly communicate your business with your audience and other people, like public trust, other clients who, you know, future clients that you may have wanted to take on later. And where it stands now, and I guess this is my question for the entire panel and even the audience too, after listening to this Clubhouse panel, after everything has been laid out, at least what you've heard thus far, would you do business with her? Is she want someone that you would do business with in the future?
I think that's a great point. As you were talking, I really wrote down ethics and integrity. Somebody's microphone is big. Okay, and two sides, because that's literally what it comes out to. The same way that in law there's the offense and not the offense and the defense, but the prosecutor and the defense. There's two sides. There's a good side. There's a bad side, and it applies in business and it applies in entertainment. As a business owner, you have to decide: are you for the good people, or are you willing to get your hands dirty and make things happen? It appears, and allegedly, right, being an Olivia Pope, she has to be on that side where I'm willing to get my hands dirty to meet the needs of my client. It's unfortunate, but there has to be those kind of people. And as business owners, we get to decide which person are we. Are you a person that operates with ethics and integrity? Are you a person that's willing to do whatever it takes to get the job done? For me, because I represent Black people, because Black entrepreneurship is at the forefront of everything I do, because I believe the economic empowerment for Black people is going to come through entrepreneurship, I also have to operate from a place of ethics and integrity. And so making sure that my clients' needs are met from a place of ethics and integrity, we're up against Black stereotypes where it comes to business. Like, that's what I'm up against, right? So I don't have any room to operate outside of excellence. Like, if it's not Black excellence, I can't do it. So for me, I wouldn't be able to do it unless, again, communication. I said, this is how I operate. This is what I do. If we partner, this is how it has to be done. Do I think she operates with all of her clients without integrity? Probably not. She probably has some clients that hold her to a different standard than others. Can you be a good entrepreneur and do some bad things? I believe that you can. Does it show who your character is? It may, but I think that good people do bad things. But your question was, for me, I have to operate with ethics and integrity. That's just for me.
For me, I agree. I don't know if I would want to ever work with someone where I have to question your character, you know. And I think for me also, going back to the apology thing, right? You can say you apologize or whatever it is. When it goes for a Joyner, he said, okay, you took the 60,000, but did she ever say, well, this is what I did with the 60,000? Like, so that's where like contracts and like things like that come in, where it's like, okay, this is what I was supposed to do, and then this is what I actually did. You know, so I don't feel like that was even a conversation, unless I missed it. Like, ladies, please correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like that wasn't said. It wasn't, oh, well, I did this, and I did this. And that's where your 60,000 came in. And that's what was in the contract.
Exactly. I couldn't agree more. Like, I think you have to be impeccable with your word. And if your word isn't impeccable, then I can't trust you, because, I mean, small dollar value, large dollar value, which is relative to everyone, I need you to do what you say you're going to do. And at the moment you can't deliver, then we need to have a conversation and adjust how we're going to do business together. And if the objectives, as we've said, are not clear, then I'm the fool and you're the fool, because then I'm an unhappy customer at that time. And one dynamic I wanted to bring in is also, so the other side of this is this what makes people of integrity fear going into entrepreneurship, because you're trying to be a people pleaser and do everything for everyone, which you cannot do, right? So you can't please everyone. You can't do everything. You can't be all things to all people. And you find yourself doing that when you're getting into entrepreneurship. So it holds you back and it keeps you from taking chances. It keeps you afraid to make mistakes. But that is what entrepreneurship is. It's diving in, it's doing your research, it's learning and getting out there and doing that thing, even if you make mistakes. You just have to own them. So when you make that mistake, own them and don't be doing dirty, shady stuff. So it'll be a no for me working with her, because when too many people are talking and saying the same thing, there's got to be some truth to it.
I'm going to say that, so I don't know, I know you guys know Kid and Play, right? So Kid is having a conversation with, I think, somebody on TV interviewing, and he's describing that there was somebody that he brought into the industry that surpassed him a great deal. So the person who was interviewing him, the reporter was like, wow, you brought him into the industry. And the kid is like, yeah, and so he's like, he's big time. And Kid is like, I know. And he says, to do very well in this industry, you have to be a shark. He said, I'm a dolphin. I'm not a shark. And I keep that in mind oftentimes because I work in this industry. And no matter my stature, I'm 5'10", and I'm a Black woman for real. I come from the inner city of Chicago. I find myself not capable of being the shark often. It's like it's just too taxing on a spirit when you know that you're rooted in certain things. But I'm also going to say this too: a doctor who has 100 open heart surgeries and he performs very well on 95, and 5 he don't do very well. I mean, is he a bad doctor? He's a bad doctor for 5 families, yes, but the other 95 he's not. So is Karen bad? If she's bad in all her business adventures? I don't think so. I don't think you get to the level that she is in business being completely bad for business. The reason I won't do business with her is because this scenario makes me believe that I will have to be a shark, and I don't like being a shark.
Come on, dolphin. Come on, dolphin. Okay, I'm gonna call you President Dolphin. Okay, dolphin.
Oh my God, that was so funny.
Come on, dolphin.
I don't want to come off like I'm soft because
you're not soft. You are impeccable. You're impeccable with your words, right? You are impeccable with your words. You say what you mean what you say, and you are a shark when you need to be in the areas that you want to be, right? Yeah. When you have Black people, white supremacy, oppression, you are a shark. You go hard in the paint for your people.
Right.
So there's areas where you choose to be a shark and areas where you choose not to be a shark, which is basically what I was saying a minute ago, which is we choose where we want to lean in and where we don't want to lean in. It doesn't mean a person leans in all the time. I'm not going to assume. I'm not going to assume that when she works with Nike, she don't cut corners. We don't know. And you know what I'm saying? We don't know. We don't know. But I like it exactly how you said it. She got to be to a place where she is. She probably wasn't cutting a lot of corners and doing a lot of those things to get to that level, which is one of the reasons. And people ask me all the time, like, you should go into politics. There's no way. I can never go into politics because I'm for the people. You can't be for the people and be in politics. You have to pick one. This is my opinion. I believe that people go into politics for an initial reason and purpose to help people, but the only way you can get something done and get something through is to scratch somebody's back. So if I don't scratch your back and vote the way out, you want me to vote for you, then you're not going to vote for me. So even if you go into something with pure intentions, it gets burnt to the ground. You can't be pure and be in politics. So I could never be in politics because I always have to be B1. I always have to be about Black people. I always have to put my community first. So it can never work. I believe that can happen in a lot of industries. Going into the entertainment industry or whatever it is, when you want to make things move, like you got to do it. Sometimes you may have to do something, and you have to decide. Like Faye said, What are you willing to do? What are you? And I think Madam President said, what are you willing to do for the $60,000? Like you have to take that on. So I want to bring it back to I'm gonna take us out on this last question. First of all, Joe Torres is killing me. He said, "Are you any of you ladies single?" I'm telling you up front, I don't have 60,000, but I can cook and iron. Come on, Joe. Throw your we're talking about single people.
Joe, do you wash clothes too?
If you wash and cook, that's more than 60,000. I mean, that's worth more. So, this was the real question I wanted to get at. Ladies, can having too many clients hurt you? And we'll make this our last question, and then we'll do a circle around the room. Ladies, can having too many clients hurt you? Anybody? I have an opinion, but I'm not going to speak first. Anybody want to take that?
I think this goes back to what it's going to be really quick. I just think that it goes back to what Teddy said, right, earlier in the conversation, where you have to have certain things in place. So if you get to a place where you have a lot of clients and it's overbearing for you, that's when you know you need to start hiring. You need to start hiring a staff, and that's all about, that business mindset too. Like, okay, like I know this is too much for me now, and I'm not going to be able to give to my clients the way I want to give. I'm not going to be able to give 100% to my clients. Okay, now let me start putting the right pieces in place, start hiring people, start creating systems so that my clients can be taken care of.
Yeah.
Go ahead, ladies. I think Madam President. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to say, absolutely. Having too many clients is not healthy business. Everybody, because if your business is rooted in giving people a certain level of attention and getting things done in a proper manner, then if you have too many, then therefore you cannot successfully service people the best that you want your company to represent. And if you know that having 10 clients is your max based on what you're able to do personally, based on what your resources and your assistant is able to do, therefore, I think you have to, for your business, you have to say, no, I can't take you on. But guess what? People will appreciate that because people will be so sour when you tell them yes, and then you give them the worst version of yourself, the worst version of the business. They can't survive that. Then you fall out with them. Then you got to give a refund, but you've already put some equity into it. It's better to truly assess what you are, where you are, and tell people no. And it goes a long way, in my opinion, than telling people, than saying yes and being partially available.
Yeah. So the easy answer is basically what you guys all said. Yes, having too many clients can hurt you. That's the very simple, easy answer. I'm going to take it just a teeny bit further and say there's a way to avoid that, right? A lot of times, especially Black-owned businesses, we get to a place where we have too many customers, so we'll downscale to fix the problem. If you have too many customers or too many clients, this is where you scale up. This is where processes come into place. This is where team building comes into place. This is where expanding, when you get to a place where you have too many clients or too many customers, then that means your business is doing good. You need to put processes and people in place to grow with you and scale with you so that you don't have that problem. Unfortunately, a lot of our businesses, we get to a place of growth and we're not prepared for that growth. So yes, having too many customers or clients can hurt you, but that's what forecasting is for. That's what business development is for. That's what team building is for. Like, we have to be thinking strategically with our businesses. I like what Teddy said. There's no reason you should be calling Karen Silver direct. Like, there should be a buffer. There should be an assistant. There should be somebody that you are speaking to. You shouldn't even know I'm on vacation. My team should be handling that, right? So the easy answer is yes, but there's preparation and work that should be done to make sure that does not happen. Okay, now we're going to get out of here. I know my Faye Bishop got to get out of here. She is a mom, and we are over on our time for today. So normally I would go around the room and do closing thoughts, but instead of that, I'm just going to shout out everybody and ask that you would go and please follow them, support them. This is the Melanated Air Hour. We are a group, but we are also individuals. Everybody has their own business. Everybody does their own thing. So if you would like to learn, grow, support us individually, please go and check out Miss Faye Bishop at Miss Faye Bishop. Go check out Madam President. Madam President, I can't say your full thing. I think it's at one Madam President with the Z. She'll tell you that. Don't forget the Z. Teddy Ewing at The Real Teddy Talks. Keisha at We Inspire Brand. I am Lene Javette. You can go and follow me. We do the Melanated Air Hour every week on Tuesdays and Thursdays. If something is really pressing, we may come to you on a Saturday and talk about it. But please follow, share, turn on the notifications, tune in. Every week we have these conversations. We talk about life from a Black perspective, from a Black business perspective. We hope that we help you learn and grow and just look at things from a different lens. Okay. With that being said, we are going to go. We thank you. We love you. We appreciate you. And we will see you next time. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.